Hi everyone, this is Marianne and welcome to my channel. Today I have a little tutorial for you. I'm going to share how to make a side-loading pouch for your planner using a single sheet of tracing paper and one piece of self-laminating sheet. You can do this in any planner of any size using any binding system. I just happen to be in the discbound system, and the size of my planner inserts is the A5 Slim, which is 210 millimeters in height and 95 millimeters in width. So I sized my side loading pouch accordingly. The first step is, of course, to take measurements of how big or small you want your pouch to be. I want my pouch to be the exact same size as my planner inserts, so it should be 210 millimeters tall by 95 millimeters wide. But I also had to figure out the measurements of the actual pouch, the actual area that is doubled up to create the pouch, because I cannot make it the exact same size as my planner inserts because there's that part that I have to punch the holes on. Also, I cannot make it exactly 210 millimeters in height because I have to leave some space for that narrow lip or extension that laminating sheets require for sealing edges. So I had to make some computations. Later on, as we go along, you will see what I mean. And I eventually decided to take off this work surface that I have on here because I don't need it. I will not be using any glue here for this project, so there is no need to protect my desk from possible spills. I'm going to use just one sheet of tracing paper for this project. I like tracing paper. I like that it's see-through but not entirely. People have actually been making side-loading pouches like this that are completely clear, made of laminating sheets. One of them is Marcy Sauter, the Rusty Blonde. I will link her video in the description box, but she makes hers completely out of laminating pouches, and she uses a hot laminating machine. I do not have a laminating machine, and I really just need one or two pouches like this, so I'm not going to buy an entire laminating machine just for this project. But head on over to Marcy Sauter's video because you might prefer super clear pouches and you might have a laminating machine. The final height I decided on is 209 millimeters. If we factor in the 0.5 millimeters on each edge that the laminating sheet needs, then that will add up to a total of 210 millimeters, the exact same size as my planner inserts. The width of the finished project will still be 95 millimeters, but I added several millimeters more because my original plan was to include a flap closure. It did not work out, but I will show you why and how I saved this project. This piece is the base piece. And then I cut down a smaller piece that will go over that base piece, and this smaller piece will form the actual pouch when it's combined with a bigger base piece. And the way I measured that smaller piece is 95 millimeters minus the 12 millimeters that represents the area for the holes that will be punched. The placement of the smaller piece over the base piece is crucial. It has to be exactly 12 millimeters from the left edge. So I made the tiniest markings with a pencil to show me exactly where that smaller piece has to go. I clipped the two pieces together using binder clips, although I didn't need to, but I did that anyway. And now for the lamination part. I am going to use these self-laminating sheets from Daiso. These are very, very cheap. I have them in the A4 size, and one pack contains 5 sheets, and the entire pack costs 88 pesos, which is about $1.80, more or less. We only need one sheet of this. I have to cut this one sheet in half, so to make sure I cut the right amount, I placed the tracing paper over this and simply made the cut using a pair of scissors. And then I erased the pencil marks that I have left from when I was cutting those sheets of tracing paper because I don't want the pencil marks showing through the lamination. I peeled off the clear backing from the laminating sheet and laid down that bigger base piece on it. And then I had to make sure that I pressed down on the entire paper so that I can massage out what air bubbles I could feel. And then I cut down more of that remaining laminating sheet to go with a smaller sheet of tracing paper. I made sure that the super straight edge of the laminating sheet went over one of the edges of that smaller sheet of tracing paper. And then I went ahead and put those two sheets together with the laminating sheet functioning as the adhesive to combine the two sheets of tracing paper together. Take note that I really left 12 millimeters of space from the left edge of that bigger piece. And then, as you can see, there's also a flap that is on the right edge of the assembly. And then I simply press down on the sheets and massage them to get rid of the air bubbles. And I also press down on the seals at the top and the bottom. Now, in my opinion, if you are not joining two layers of paper together and if you do not need your project to be waterproof, you do not need that extended lip of at least 0.5 millimeters all over. If it's just one layer of paper, you can get away with cutting off the excess lamination completely, which is why I have trimmed it off completely here on this edge where the hole punching will go, because there's just one sheet of tracing paper on that area sandwiched between two sheets of lamination. And then I also trimmed off the excess lamination completely on the other part, on the other edge, on the part that I originally wanted to become the flap closure, because that's just one sheet of tracing paper. However, when it came to the top and the bottom edges, that's where I left the excess lamination of 0.5 millimeters, which will seal the two sheets of tracing paper together. If I cut that off, the two sheets of tracing paper will come apart and we will not have a pouch. But I found that the lamination made the flap very difficult to fold over. It's really not possible. So what I did is I just cut that off. It is not even very necessary. It is not crucial to have the flap closure. It will add security, but if your planner has a closure all by itself, the flap is not necessary. However, if you have a better idea on how to add a flap or how to make a flap for something like this, please let me know in the comments so I can try it out. And now for the hole punching. I always use just a single hole puncher when punching plastic because the Happy Planner hole punch cannot punch plastic. So to do that, I use this template, this piece of paper that is already hole punched by the Happy Planner punch, and I just clip this to the pouch to keep it in place, and then I use my single hole punch and a pair of scissors to create the holes. And here is the finished pouch. Like I said, I like that the tracing paper is see-through, but not completely. I like that it still has a semblance of coverage, because if this is completely clear, I would feel a little uncomfortable if the money looks like it's floating around even though it actually isn't. And here, as you can see, I have a snap closure for my planner, so I feel more confident that the contents of the side-loading pouch, whether it's cash or receipts or other pieces of paper, they will not fall out. I have a video about how I made this snap cover out of a plastic envelope, and I will link it in the description box. You can also make a version of this side-loading pouch that is a top-loading pouch, but in my case, the top edge of my planner is not covered, but the side is covered with that snap closure, so that is why the side-loading pouch is better for me. And that is my little video for you today. I hope you were able to get some ideas. Thanks for watching. Bye.